cussing me out. It's officially done. I'm done with y'all cussing me out. I've apologized. I ain't even apologizing. Before we get started, a lot has changed over the last week, right? Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
Did we even talk about that last week, or did
No,
that happen after the pod?
I think that came out after.
Well, it might have came out the day of, cause we recorded on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't. We totally missed it though. I think it came out afterwards though. I think it came out after we recorded.
All right.
But,
Okay.
Yeah, who didn't see this coming?
Literally, they only gave us a warning. They only told us what was going on.
Everybody talking about Hillary emails and voting for Bernie, and all this other shit. And back in 2014, black men were just like, "Hey, ladies, trying to give y'all a heads up. Y'all might want to vote for Hillary." No, we ain't gonna vote for Hillary. Yada yada yada. Like, yeah, can we say that Hillary from one of the worst pro-choice states, Arkansas, might have been perhaps sort of a bigot? I mean, we can say that. I mean, we have Ruth Ginsburg, who loves Hillary to death, right?
Mm-hmm.
That sat on the Supreme Court for 30 years and had how many black clerks?
Not enough.
One, by the way, one. Ruth Ginsburg.
She probably said one too many.
Justice, who's considered progressive and liberal, had one black Supreme Court clerk. The whole time she was a justice. So this behavior, just falling behind what we think progressive liberal women wanted, and when black men will start pushing back against that, we was basically told to shut up, right?
Basically,
we're gonna vote for who we want to vote for. Why y'all don't like Bernie? Why y'all don't want to support Bernie? We're like, yo, you got to get the correct person elected, because if you don't, there's going to be consequences for all those behaviors. And 2016 happened. You didn't get the person that you wanted. Now you're paying the consequences of that.
Look, hold on. Absolutely. So here's my issue. All right. Here, for those who do not know, I was on Facebook and I made a mistake. I told y'all maybe, I don't know, last season, I told y'all the biggest thing I learned from Mike last year was sometimes you don't need to respond. So for full transparency, if you follow me on any social network, especially Facebook, I have no problem with debating you. I would stop what I'm doing. That's probably why I got fired from my last job. I would stop what I'm doing and debate you as long as my kid ain't crying or fighting and I ain't in the middle of a shoot. And so this young lady had posted, shout out to her because she definitely gave me a gig and paid me well for it. But she keep posting this post that everybody keeps sharing is, yo, men can make 100 babies in a year. Women can only make one. We are punishing the wrong gender. So me personally, I wrote her back and I kind of let her know like, yo, but men don't do this.
Yeah, men don't do that.
No man does that.
No man goes out here. Matter of fact, the percentage of men that actually make multiple babies, we actually know the percentage of men that do this.
And it is by far super low. So low.
8%. It's 8% of all men.
8%. I want that to be
have more than 2 or more baby mamas by the age that they're 40.
Look, no, it's overall. Well,
I like to throw that caveat out there because see, with numbers and statistics, you could be like, okay, are we talking 18 to 26? Are we talking 18 to 29? Are we talking 30 to 40? So it's like, no, I like to say by the age of 40, right? So that's everybody that you want to include at whatever start age, but by the time that they're 40, this is what the number looks like. So yes, men can go out and make babies every single day of the week. Matter of fact, they could do it twice a day. They could do it 10 times. Well, you probably can't do it 10 times a day.
Yo, if you shooting off 10 times.
You could probably do it 2-3 times a day, every day for 365 days. Yes, in theory, a man could make at minimum 1,000 babies a year, right? 1,000 different baby mamas a year.
Absolutely.
Men don't do that.
They don't do that shit.
So who's the responsible party for the multiple children out of wedlock? Who's the responsible party?
So Mike trying to get cussed out super early. We ain't even 5 minutes into the podcast.
Welcome to the Black Dads Club,
where we're only looking for men. Welcome to all the fellas, all the new dads,
all the new dads.
Old dads.
Welcome, man. If y'all not getting any sleep, I would tell you that it gets better, but not really.
Yo, I told Mike off air, I was like, yo, since Sunday, my boy's been waking up at 4:30, trying to party every night. And it's just one of those situations where I'm looking at life like, yo, my man, like last week, that, you know what, that's the funniest part about having a kid. It's like shit just changes.
It does. It changes
day,
so much and so fast. And I'm gonna be honest, the days of getting like full night's rest, it's gone. Like no one tells you this as a dad, right? Like no one tells you, because I think everybody hopes that you're gonna get a full night's rest, but you don't, because even if you share custody with your kid, you wonder how your kid is doing. If your kid is in the home, anytime you wake up, if you don't go check on your kid, you almost feel like you're a bad parent.
Absolutely.
Like, you walk by the room, you're just going to grab something out of the fridge, and you're like, I probably should go in there and check on my kid.
Absolutely.
Because how shitty of a parent would I feel for, the fear of every parent, right? If they're not breathing, like kids breathe, they're fine.
Absolutely.
But as a dad, you're just like, I need to go in there and check on them.
Yo, yesterday Karina texted me. She was like, I can hear him. I'm like, he's at daycare. What the hell are you talking about? Like, sometimes you feel like you hear your kid. Yes. And it does throw you.
It messes with you. Like, the weeks that I don't have my son, if I hear something, I'm like, maybe it ain't even my week. Like, why am I there's nothing here. Calm down. Like, no, it is. But being, I mean, you posted the reel where, we were just saying, like, yo, like, being a dad, it's like, it's so dope.
Absolutely.
It's so fun. And and we just pivoted. You see how great having kids are, man, because it takes you from this place where we was literally about to go in to Absolutely. Now we're in this peaceful era of
just loving being a father. Before we go to end the show, I do want to say I encourage all men to go look up the U.S. Census male fertility report. It was from 2020. The reason why I'm telling you to go check that out, because the narrative about fatherhood, black fathers, it has to change. And if we're not equipped with the knowledge, then we're just going to accept what we're being told.
You're going to accept whatever we're being told, man.
And what we're being told is men are out here making broken homes and doing everything, when in fact, 75% of dads are married. I guarantee if you look around...
think about that number. And this is from what report?
This is from the U.S. Census Bureau.
United States Census Bureau.
At the top, it says this is a government site with government information.
All right, so this is all the information that everyone sent in when you did your census report.
Absolutely.
This is that information, right? 75% of dads are married.
Absolutely.
Now, we're a Black Dads podcast, so I know we're going to get some hate. Like, well, black men aren't getting... All right, let's go back to the studies. 85% of black men have had their children by one woman by the time he is 40. 85%. That number for women is much, much higher. By the age of 40, over 60% of black women have 2 or more baby daddies.
Absolutely. So I am here to let all fathers know, like,
baby fathers, right? Let me not.
Man, they like, when they mad at you, you're a baby daddy.
You definitely, you're a donor.
Look,
you're definitely a donor.
To openly say, yo, my man is a sperm donor, meaning that I'm not gonna say what you would technically be.
A sleeve, a bucket.
Like, that's wild to think about. But we do got to change this narrative. Why? Because 92% of men have children with one woman. 75% of dads are married. And out of that, you got to think 75% are married. We're not going to get into the 20 other percent that is either separated or divorced, or, they've lost their wife, So we got to look. This whole narrative that men ain't shit, your baby daddy, whatever, that is such a small number.
But you know what?
Which is scary.
I wanted us to get into this at the end of the pod, but this is such a perfect segue because I believe you have two different parties in the black community right now, right?
Okay.
So in the political party, we got the Democrats and we got the Republicans. Right now, I believe that you have black men that want to be married and have families, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think you have a subset of women that are okay with having kids and not being married, right? I think marriage have become the point of contention now. And I think this is further proven because on black demographics, it actually shows that 33% of black men are married. Only 27% of black women are married, right? That's a 20% difference, right? This is literally 2 out of every 10 people, 1 out of every 5, right?
Yep.
So if you have 5 men, 5 women, 1 extra man is going to be married out of that group. So this ideal when I think the aunties are doing our women a grave disservice because I think that they're telling women that marriage is horrible, there's no place for it, but there's no place for you to be provided by or protected outside of marriage, right?
I would love to know, and we should post this. I would love to know why black women do not want to get married.
I would love to know why black women don't want to get married either. But here's the thing: if you don't want to get married, that's fine. But you're going to have to stop saying that black women are the most unprotected class, right? Because for one, you're mishandling Malcolm X quote, and for two, there's no way to be protected if you don't have a provider of protection, right? If you go out here and wreck your vehicle and you do not have insurance, right? What's the first question they ask when you have an auto accident, right? Or you hit
license,
something?
registration, and insurance.
Yeah, like who is your insurance by, right? Who's your insurance provided by, right? If you don't have insurance, guess what? You're uncovered. You're not covered. You're uninsured. And it's the same thing that I think that we misunderstand this ideal of belonging to someone, right? Like if you like a lot of y'all still religious, right? You have to belong to God
allegedly
for God to provide for you, right?
Facts.
It's the same thing in a relationship. You have to belong to someone, right? So when something happens and the question is asked, well, who are you covered by, right? If you're uncovered, then you are unprotected. If you wreck your car and you don't have insurance, what do you have to tell them? I'm not covered.
What you think about we was listening to a video last night, me and my wife, and we were talking about how this idea, and we weren't talking about black women, but we was talking about this idea of women who see marriage as a job and they have this nasty view on submission. So we started laughing, right? And so matter of fact, I wrote, we was talking about what we was talking about in our group chat.
Yeah, the group
Sorry,
chat.
I don't want nobody to kill me in our part of our group chat. Some stuff does become a discussion in my household.
Long as we don't use names, we're good.
Look, and men, you got to be careful with sharing stuff from the group chat. You can't use no names, and it has to be general, and you can't say what's being said. So anyway, we were talking, and I started laughing about it because my wife was saying, yo, you know, it was annoying for her dad to let her mom pack his bags when they took road trips.
Yeah.
Because her mom would have to come downstairs and say, hey, do you want this? Yes. Okay, come back. Do you want and he'd be like, yo, I got it. I'll just do it, right? And so we was talking, and then my wife looked, she said, I feel like I'm submissive. And I said, yeah, but I don't ask you to do shit either. You know, and we laughed because, you know, I don't look at submission as a job, or it's a gift to me, right?
Yeah.
So the beauty of it is I'm not asking my wife to cook every day. She cook 3 times a week. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You know? Look, I'm cool with it because it saves us money. Because we go to dinner, guess who paying for it, Mike?
Probably you.
Exactly.
Probably.
So then I look at it, you know, I wash clothes, you know, look, with a baby, them shits just live on the floor now.
Yeah.
But it's cool. You
but
know
we already know, like, black men were the most egalitarian.
Yeah, so I look at it and I'm like, man, this shit is funny. But then I look at other women, they like, you know, other women, especially black women who I encounter and I talk to, and they're like, yo, I really don't want to get married. I'd rather either have a child and raise them my own, or co-parent, which we ain't the greatest at.
Yep.
But or they look at it and say, yo, I'm cool with being single. But then, like you said, it's screaming, protect black women, you know, support us, protect us, whatever. And
So let's jump to that, right?
Okay.
So because we said, all right, there's two types of black adults, right?
Absolutely.
There's men that want to settle down and have kids, and then there's women that want kids and not be married. Because you just said that, you know, like, you got women that don't want to be married,
Facts.
but want children, right? And one of the things that we screamed this on this podcast, and we're never not going to scream it. Do not have a baby out of wedlock.
Especially men.
Do not have a baby out of wedlock. So that's only going to leave the 8% of men that got multiple baby mamas to give babies to these women that don't want to be married. What kind of relationships you think they're going to have?
Stressful ones.
Stressful ones, shitty ones. What kind of kids you think they're raising?
The type of dudes who become simps.
Types of dudes that become simps. Types of dudes that become baby daddy number 4, baby daddy number 3.
Going to McDonald's.
You know what? I'm not gonna bang on baby daddy number 2, because you know what? Sometimes, yes, a woman might have a child.
And we was fair last year when we said we don't blame baby mama number 2.
Yes,
because He could be lying.
He could be lying. But baby mama number 3, baby mama number 4, baby mama number 5.
Y'all just out of there.
You're a crash dummy, right? And it's the same thing with men, right? Baby daddy number, if you're baby daddy number 3, if you're baby daddy number 4, if baby daddy number 5, you're a crash dummy, right? We're not going to sit here and pretend that you didn't know, right?
Absolutely.
There was enough evidence for you to know.
Absolutely.
So let's hop to the video.
Uh-huh.
Of old girl explaining.
Who you talking about? McDonald's?
McDonald's.
Okay, so y'all have to know this already.
Everyone knows this already.
This is a week old story.
Yep.
The joke is we had this video a week ago.
Yep.
This podcast will get better because we would have been popping by now. If we was talking about this last week and we just dismissed it as this is stupid. For those who not know, because you've been living under a rock and this is the only place where you get your news from, thank you. But a young lady was at her home,
It's
and
the only place you get your news from.
look, man, we are grateful to be in your presence. She was inside her home, and I want to explain this so we can really, really understand. She was inside her home recording, showing her baby father, who has to be baby father number 3 or 4,
Yep.
and she was recording him complaining before he got to the door about how he always drops off food for her son, but not his siblings.
Yeah.
And her exact words were, "I'm going to expose him."
Yep.
As soon as my man approached the door, he said, "Why are you recording me?" She said, "I am here to expose you." And an argument, a 4-minute debate went on of her feeling he was required or he should feed her other kids, and that his son didn't deserve to eat the food that he brought him because her other kids don't get McDonald's. Because, mind you, this is her dates. I don't know. Her food stamps was either coming on the 7th or the 11th.
And what's crazy is she actually has like 116,000 followers on TikTok.
Mind fucking blowing,
right?
Bro.
I don't even know. Facebook, I didn't even check to see, and I didn't check to see if she had an Instagram because I'm not going to follow a terrible person, knowingly follow a terrible person. But the fact that, like, okay, so when he came there, right?
Absolutely.
And the video hit. Of course, one of my besties sent it to me. So my besties are always women, by the way. If I say my boys, that's my homeboys. If I say my besties, it's one of my homegirls.
Let me tell y'all something. Mike be early on these videos, and sometimes I just argue with Mike, and I forget. Like, from here on out, I'm going to list our videos so we could just bring them here. Because you and your brother, y'all good at being early with some shit. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
So I'm telling everybody, I was like, he's not the first baby daddy. He's baby daddy number 2, 3, 4. And they were like, how do you know this? I said, because if he was the first baby daddy, right, that's a particular type of man, right? Mm-hmm. A man that marries a woman or a man that wants a child with a woman, even if it doesn't work, his mindset is different from a dude that comes in and be baby daddy number 3 or 4. These are two completely different men. Okay. Women like to convolute the two because simps are fun, right? Mm-hmm. They want to convolute the two. But I immediately known that he wasn't he wasn't the oldest kid. So, right, so one of my homegirls, she was like, "How do you know he's not?" I said, "Because if he was the oldest, right? If the oldest child was his, he would have brought food for all of them, right? Not because she deserves it, not because he's obligated to, but because that type of man doesn't want to see anyone hurt, right? Especially a child. Okay, right? He understands this, like, yo, this didn't work out. I played a part in it. I'm walking away." Now, when you come in and you baby daddy number 3 or number 4, see, you already know she fucked up. I mean, we can pretend that's not the case, but I'm sorry, you don't have multiple kids or by anybody, male or female, if you don't have unresolved trauma, because it's too much work. It's a reason why 85% of men just stop.
Absolutely.
It's just like, yo, it's so much work.
Absolutely.
So...
Which, this is funny because it goes back to our discussion 2 weeks ago when y'all said about dating a woman.
With children, right?
With children.
We said that there's qualifiers, right? This dude never asked the qualifying questions. What is your relationship with the other 2 or 3 baby daddies, right? Because if she was like, well, none of them take care of any of their kids, dude, full stop. Why are you having unprotected sex with a woman that you know is fertile as fuck, for one?
Absolutely.
And no dude that she's been with is taking care of her kids.
Absolutely.
Who do you think is going to take care of those kids, bro?
You
going to take care of those children.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you want to, simp fucking tastic. But if you don't want to,
Absolutely.
Right? You got to understand that this is not a woman that I should be having unprotected sex with, for one, because maybe she's just for fun.
Yeah.
For two, why are you doing something with somebody that you don't want to be with long term?
Yeah.
Why you have unprotected sex with someone that you don't want to be with long term?
Why you? Never mind. Yeah.
It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible behavior. And as men, we have to hold other men accountable, right?
Absolutely.
And I think we have for the most part, because I think that's why we stop at one child. But we got to do even better. We got to stop at 0. We have to full stop. Marry the woman that you want to have children with.
Absolutely. And look, I was telling somebody, this could have been handled so much better, right? She could have pulled him inside and be like, look, first of all, you don't need to be recording shit. This generation, this time that we're in, we're so excited to expose people.
Yeah.
And it always ends up backfiring, right? Like, you either embarrassing the people that's showing your culture or yourself. And for her, it was black folks looked embarrassed because I didn't see no white folks posting about this shit.
She definitely embarrassed herself, and she embarrassed our community, because I think even the women was like,
oh, the women was on her ass too,
yeah,
bro.
like there's no reason for him to have to buy all the kids anything. Or why didn't you just cash out them? Because when she made her video, right, she got all the makeup, she got the wig,
the lashes,
she got the lashes.
Nails was done.
Nails are done. I mean, hell, nails ain't cheap.
Nah, I told you my girl give Kelly about $80.
Yeah.
The hair. So the thing is, you embarrassing people. This could have been handled different. You could have said, hey, bro, look, from here on out, come by after work, take him to McDonald's, y'all eat, bring him back. Cool.
And I don't even want to give him a pass for that, because for one, if you start dating that woman and you was around her children and you and her break up, bruh, how do you even have the heart to go over there and drop your kid something off and not their kid? And this is why you shouldn't be introducing people to your children any fucking way.
Facts.
And I'll be honest, for the most part, men don't do it. So y'all know who do this dumb shit. So this is why you don't do it. Right? Like, so the fact that he went over there, he didn't even think about the other kids. Like, yes, to be honest, he should have bought a pizza. But you know what? I don't expect any more from baby daddy number 3 or baby daddy number 4. He did exactly what I'd expect someone that's baby daddy or number 3 or 4 to do, but be fucking simptastic. And he was.
I told I'm gonna get back to my final point. I told one girl, I said, she was talking to me about her baby father, and I said, sometimes y'all gotta understand what a man is capable of. We can't expect Martin Luther King out of Chief Keef. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we shouldn't. We shouldn't.
Certain men have capabilities that they can only reach.
Yep.
So for him, bringing your kid a McDouble and some fries in a small cup when the large is the same price, I expect that out of you, because you saw that, damn, she got 3 other kids here, and I ain't seen a dad yet. But I'm laying in her raw, whatever, cool, boom, it happens. The other thing that I would just say, we've talked about this on this pod. Go get your kid, man. And I'm talking about get joint custody or get full custody.
You have to get custody of your kids. The moment you're no longer with that woman, if you work, unless you work third shift or second shift, if you work first shift, even if it's retail, and you got a support system, like if your mom lives in town or whatever, you have to get a court order for your children. We talked about this last season. If you do not, these women are going to drag you, and they're going to push shit out, and they're going to make it hard on you.
Bruh, the fact that your girl has almost $200,000 TikTok viewers, the fact that she was getting pressed so much from men and women alike that she got her whole face, hair, nails, and lashes done to do a response video to exposing you for taking care of your responsibility. Even though we as men are holding you accountable to say, bruh, you should have did more, you could have done more. The fact is, you still did what you were required to do. Yeah. Matter of fact, and you wasn't even required to do that.
No, you know
what I'm saying?
Wasn't even required to do it.
But you got to go get her in court. And I told a group of guys this in a sports group I'm in. I said, I remember my cousin in court fighting his baby mom, her other kids, you know what I'm saying, they baby dads wasn't shit.
Yeah.
And she literally admitted in court, look, my income comes from this man. So if you give him full custody, I won't be able to take care of my other kids. The judge looked at her and said, that is the most irresponsible stuff I've ever heard in my life. And my cousin has a daughter, bruh.
Yeah.
The judge said, I'm giving him full custody of his daughter. I don't know if y'all know what it takes to get a girl out of her mom's house, but for her to give it to her dad, and she didn't have a stable thing. She literally looked at the judge and said, "He's my income." Judge said, "Not anymore. Go get your job."
But here's the thing: this is the problem with being men. If you're not baby daddy number one, bro, there's no excuse for this behavior. You have to ask those qualifying questions so you do not end up in these situations and scenarios, right? And then let's even take it back a little bit before that, right? Why are we having children with women that we have no intentions of marrying?
That's a whole
why do we keep doing this to ourselves? If you don't want to be married, so bruh, a child is probably a stronger bond than a marriage. It's probably a stronger bond, right? Because you're never going to be done with this woman. If y'all don't have kids and get divorced, y'all can never talk to each other again. You have a child with a woman, you are both going to hear from each other until the day you die.
Absolutely.
It is a lifelong commitment. So we have to treat it. We have to treat it with more importance than after the first child.
Let me ask you something before we move on. What would you have done if you was him?
If I was him?
Yeah.
And I'm out at the club. I see this chick. I got club lights on. I done had 8 beers. She looks good to me. I get home and she has 3 kids. And I'm like, oh, where your kids' fathers at? And she like, they not here. And I'd be like, oh, how many are they? They is 2 or 3 more. Oh, well, you're fertile as hell. So what I would have done is, had fun with protection. And then I just would have not ever had a baby with her. Because that makes no sense to me, right? Because if nobody else is taking care of their kids, again, everybody got mad at the question when I was like, look, I didn't know what the relationship is between you and the baby daddy, because at the end of the day, he is a reflection of you, right? And I believe that if we look at her saying that no one else is taking care of her kids.
They was on your ass.
Yeah, they was on my ass. They disagreed with that. But I think we definitely agreed that like her baby daddies are a reflection of her behavior.
That video would drop tomorrow. And I will be turning off my damn Instagram.
Yeah, so no, that I would not purposefully had a child with her, right? Like, if the accident of accidents happen, God forbid, then and I show up, and I have to bring food to the kid, then no, I would have brought food for everybody. Yeah, I really would. I would have bought pizza. Now, here's the thing: sound like he was doing that every day. Happy Meals ain't $3.50 no more.
Nah, bro.
Happy Meal's like $6 and some change,
and they don't even come with the toy half the time.
Yeah, so I mean, so you talk about $25 every time you go over there. Look, if you do $25 and you going over there 4 days a week, that's $100 a week, right? That's $400 a month. That's $5K a year that you're spending in food. And again, this comes to the problem of men dating and why simp culture is so pervasive, is because if you're doing that, you're subsidizing her lifestyle. You really are.
Well, I know, but we always talk about how women have the biggest subsidized.
They have a subsidized lifestyle, but they don't recognize that they have a subsidized lifestyle. Like when I pulled up like average wages of women by state, we're in North Carolina. The average wages for women in the state, black women in the state of North Carolina, the average wage is $30,034. It's the average wage.
That's sad,
right?
You can't do shit with that.
You can't really do anything with that. So the dating apps, what we got to understand is that the dating apps are for the women, because it allows for a subsidized lifestyle that women don't have. Now, college, you could probably add, $15,000 in that, right? So the average college graduate salary is probably between 40 and 45, right? Most people are probably somewhere in the 50s or whatever.
Well, the average man in Charlotte, the average man in the U.S., not Charlotte, at 30 is 40 grand.
Yeah. So,
which is tough.
So you got to understand is that when these women are on these dating apps, like, guys, you are the product on dating apps. Women are not the product.
Nah.
Women are the consumers.
Absolutely.
So on these dating apps, what guys got to understand is that you are subsidizing a lifestyle. When you go out and you paying $200 on a date, to be honest, if you be honest with yourself, you can't do that 4 times a month.
Hell nah.
No, you can't, right? Because the truth of the matter is that's $800 a month times 12 months, $9,600.
Y'all about to stop taking them birds to Plymouth.
That's $10,000 a year
Bruh.
in just dating. No, you can't afford that making $50,000 a year.
You can't.
You can't afford that at $75,000 a year.
I was telling my homegirl Sierra, I said, yo, I said, women got to start checking salaries before they start having babies with these dudes. And she looked at me and started laughing. I said, no. I said, look, at the age of 30, the average male salary is literally $40,006 and like $65, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I told her, I said, my son goes to a daycare that's not the biggest, the greatest, the just, you know, some of these daycares are like mini schools, right? My son goes to a good daycare, but it's not as expensive. And I told her, you're looking at a man who's about to spend 13 to 14 grand this year in daycare fees. I said, imagine as a man, you making 40 and you spending 15 or 16 grand before taxes and daycare fees. I said, that shit don't make sense.
Dude, and that, so we're trying to date. So if you got kids and you're trying to date, and this is women's expectations. So I'm gonna read you a post from a very attractive lady that's my age, right?
Okay. Cutie pie.
Yeah, she's fine. She's fine, but she has 3 kids and more than one baby daddy. But anyway, she was like, I saw this post and was surprised by the men responses. I said you can have a decent date for $200. I based that off of what I take my niece, my mom, and sons, etc. to dinner. The two of us usually get food and drinks. It's usually close to $200, right? And the question that she's responding to is, what's the average cost of a decent date night? Now, she's in the Midwest, by the way. She's not in L.A. She's not in California. She's not in D.C. She's not in Charlotte, because I don't know who done told you Charlotte cheap. She's not in Chicago. She's not in Austin. She's not in Miami.
She's in St. Louis.
She is in a small Midwest town, right?
Oh, damn.
And she is saying $200, right? She like, most of the men were saying between $70 and $80. And she was like, yo, that's y'all being cheap. All right? Now, this is what I'm saying to you guys, right? If you're going to go out with a woman and she's not interested in you, right? Like, you're having to convince her to go with you, because that's all the dating apps are right now.
Yeah.
Dating apps, it is dinner and dick for women. That's all it is. It isn't for you guys. So if you're trying to convince a woman to go out and you're having to drop $200 every time you go out,
buy an escort.
All right, pretty much. But I mean, even if you did that once a week, you're looking at, that is $800 a month, right? It's $9,600 a year. How much money do you have to make to be able to afford $10,000 in just dating?
Bro, imagine making 6 figures and you say 10% of my salary goes to dating.
Yeah. So it goes back. And I'm not telling men not to go on dates. I'm not even telling men not to, have cheap dates. What I'm telling men is, you do have to look at the numbers, and you do have to start understanding that this player shit is played out.
Yeah.
Like just settle down and like find a good one. Like, when you find a good woman, bro, settle down and do that, because you know what? I'd rather spend $10,000 a year on my woman than to spend $10,000 a year on women I may never talk to again.
Absolutely. And that goes to, I think I saw Mike fighting online. To you was asking a young lady, like, yo, so we're not out here dating with intentions. And I noticed she didn't really respond to that, because I laughed, because absolutely, bro. If I'm spending $200, that means we're going to get dinner, we're going to get drinks somewhere later, or, and sometimes these chicks don't even like, yo, we went and got dinner, we went to the bar.
Well, right? I think it goes to like that, the young lady's point. She's not dating with intention. She's dating for the free meal. Like,
some of y'all was like, yo, take me to dinner, and then we got to go to the jazz spot, or we got to go to the hookah lounge. Hookah's damn near $40 and 2 drinks. You spending $80, $90 at Crave.
Yeah.
That shit don't make no damn sense.
For hookah and 3 drinks.
Look, and by the time you get back to the house, she patting you on the shoulder like, thank you for dropping me off home. Call me when you get home.
Yeah, homeboy coming through, by the way. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you. So that's how it is, man. All right, so we got some interesting things to talk about. Before we get into it, I do want to welcome everybody. I know y'all mad. Y'all like 30 minutes in, and he welcoming us to the podcast. We had a lot of shit to get off our chest, but I do want to welcome y'all to the Black Dads Club. This is season 4, episode 4. It's a beautiful space. Shout out to everybody that's joined us on Facebook, that's in our private group. We appreciate you. We looking for everybody. If you are a black dad, please find it. If you're just a dad and you just want to come in and rant with us,
definitely drop in, man.
Come on and holler at us. We'd love to have you. Make sure you following us on TikTok, Instagram, and like I said, on Facebook. I would tell you guys a tip. I do want to encourage everybody. There's an app. It is called, not an app. It is a camera called the how do you actually say this? Because I got this shit in my studio. It's amazing. It's IMOU Life. Look that up if y'all need new cameras for your crib, for your baby. Let me tell y'all, it connects to your 2G. It's easy. You plug it in, you put it up on your Wi-Fi. It's not going to burn your Wi-Fi like that. It actually circles around. It's something real easy, whether you got pets at home or, like I said, you got a new baby at home. We got it for our son. And I just want to get out to the new dads. And congratulations to all the new dads. If you listening, welcome. Hold on, let me give y'all this.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to Team No Sleep.
Absolutely. Look, but it's going to be rewarding. I don't know when, but it will be rewarding. And look, we got this podcast here. I think it's important to say because we honestly, I'm a new dad. Mike he's been a dad for a while, but we love being dads. The first podcast after I became a dad, I came in, I cussed Mike out for not telling me a bunch of shit. So for that, we have a podcast where I'm going to give y'all what Mike did not give me. But then also, like we always said, we want to change the narratives on dads, especially black dads, because they're giving us a lot of bullshit.
It is, man, and it's the ideal of like when we decided to rebrand ourselves as Black Dads Club. We've always had this conversation of like, it really feels like that black men are being used for everything bad, despite the fact that we're at the top in most categories. Mm-hmm. So like the ideal of to go back to Roe versus Wade, right? Most people don't understand the reason why it got into the Supreme Court so quickly is because she said she was gang raped by black men, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how it got to the Supreme Court. So again, so it's this ideal of like reefer madness. We gotta make reefer marijuana illegal because it makes black men want to go out here and assault white women, right? And they were able to pass that legislation. The reason, coming out of Reconstruction, the reason why Jim Crow laws were able to go in effect was the loitering idea that black men are sitting around and they're going to harm, white people, right? So you had loitering laws. The loitering laws are gang laws, right now. So anytime that they want to change something, right? Like, just look at Roe versus Wade and how many comments you had to read on Twitter was, well, I hope y'all prepared for your daughters to come home with, mixed babies now, right? Like as if one, there's a problem with a mixed baby, as if two, now women are finally sleeping with black men for the first time, or as in three, that is a bad thing, right? Like black men are constantly having a psychological war that's waged against us. And I think we finally got to the point where we was like, hey, hold the fuck up, right? If the CDC says we're the best dads, if the Summer Olympics says we're the best fucking athletes, and if any industry that we jump in that you finally allow us to jump into, we ascend to the top, we're not the worst men, right? We're the gold medalist men. We're the ones that are the best of everything. Pew Research says the most egalitarian men, right? You talk about housework. Gab, have you changed your diaper?
Hell yeah, I changed one this morning.
Yeah, so it's like, even the ideal of like things that men did not do, men today are doing more of those things. So we have to control our narrative, right? Facts. The whole point of being, a black male and coming to the Black Dads Club is saying, well, let's look at the facts. Let's see how good we are, and let's look at the places that we're bad. We called out Mr. Simptastic for buying the McDonald's for just his kid, right? Mm-hmm. But we also knew before she ever said anything that he was going to be baby daddy number 3 or 4, because that's the type of man that's going to be baby daddy number 3 or 4, a selfish ass dude.
We got to talk about dating up or down. That is important. That is super important. Don't you got a video?
We do. Let's play it real quick.
You want to plug your phone?
Yeah.
This about to be funny as shit. I need a good laugh.
We could do all of this. Yes, we could get.
Push play.
We could do all of this. Yes, we could get every degree, and we can find the men that we may like. But at the same time, if he ain't pulling the trigger, it don't matter. It don't matter what you and ladies, let me just break this down to you. And this is some of my friends, some of my, I'm not gonna go there, people that I know. We got every degree. Don't no man care about that, because he ain't gonna marry the girl that work at Wendy's. because she paid attention to him while we paying attention to our degrees and our territory.
There you go.
The dog. About women, well, we go after our careers so much. By the time we look up, we sing.
All right. So we got to have this conversation of dating up or down, right? Because I think that there's this misconception that women believe that if they make more money than men, that they're intimidating the men, right?
No.
They're not. Like, men are perfectly okay with you making more money than
My wife make more money than me.
But but it's the question of, all right, what are you going to do with that, right?
Yeah.
If you make more money than me, or financially, are we putting everything on you, right? Or are we putting more on you financially, right? So this ideal, y'all know how I feel about the 50-50 thing, right? I told you, right? When things become 50-50, this ideal of having a submissive woman, you kind of need to throw it out, right?
Facts.
Yeah, you want a woman that is compassionate, considerate, and caring, right? Like, those are the things that you need to look for in a woman. So this ideal of like, oh, well, I need her to be submissive. The only way you're really going to truly get that is to practice hypergamy. Now, men still out earn women, so there is still this ideal of hypergamy that exists. But when we looking at college educated women and college educated men, most of our salaries are going to be the same, right? Like, if we're both college educated and we work in the same department, baby, I don't make more money than you. Like, I don't know where this, this idea that I'm making more money because I'm a man is coming from.
Bro, when I worked in marketing, I made the least in office, and I was all my coworkers were women.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying? But that's just that.
Yeah. So I think that we're misunderstanding, what it means to date up or date down. Men do not care about your degree per se, right? Like, if I meet a woman and I say, okay, and I'm gonna say this because this was a question. We was out one night, all the fellas and a couple of the ladies that came out, and it was like, all right, well, what makes you a good woman? And she went through, like, she has a great job, she has a master's degree, and all the men were just looking at her like, okay, because most of the men that were sitting at the table have good jobs, and over half of us have grad degrees.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. It's like,
so
that. You haven't sold me on you, right?
Yeah.
Right. If you ask a man, well, what makes you a good man? He starts talking about how he is as a father, how he is as a provider, how he wants to take care of you. We're not really getting that feedback anymore from the women. And I think that men need to understand that we're going to have to either get to the place where we understand that we have to practice hypergamy.
Okay.
Again, or hypergamy for y'all that's been mispronouncing it for the last decade. But how do we get back to that? As men, how do we get back to the point to whereas, we can date the woman that's the CEO at the bank, or I could date the woman that's the lead at Target?
Well, so here's the thing. I think men, personally for me, because I'm part of a younger group than Mike. I say that every episode. So one day Mike gonna punch me on air and be like, bruh, stop calling me old. But I think for the dudes who I'm around, and you could tell me if y'all feel the same way, it's like, we don't want a girl who I have to take care of. So no matter if you are the head engineer at a hospital, or if you are the lead at, you're a shift leader at Target, are you going to be solely dependent on me, my salary? Am I going to be married to a child, basically, right? Like, are you going to be a child? And so for me, I look at it like that. And then also I keep it real, like, not many of the girls I know who are around my age who have great jobs, they don't tend to date down,
Is that becoming a problem, right? Like,
and I don't think it's a problem though.
Like, are women want to all date, like, you want to achieve higher, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the salary stat for over 75K in this country? Is it 10%, 15%?
Yeah, it's low.
That is a low amount of men. So if you are a woman and you are in your career and you making $70,000 a year, right, and you're 32 years old, who is available for her to date at that age? Like, who's available, right?
Yeah.
Because all the men who are going to be making that plus are either already married,
facts,
or don't want to be married to her.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if you're career driven, like this woman just told you, if you are career driven, that dude already has a career, right? You coming into the home competing isn't what he's looking for, right?
Yeah.
If he wants to get married, what does that man want when he wants to get married? He wants a home. He wants a family. He wants children. You coming in and saying, okay, I make the same amount of money you make. That's a roommate at this point, right?
Absolutely.
Does he want a roommate or does he want to build a family? Does he want to have a family? Doesn't mean that men don't appreciate anything that a woman brings to the table. But here's the thing. If you're living by yourself and you're paying 100% of the bills, right? And then you move in with me and now you're paying 50% of the bills because we make the same amount of money, is that a blessing or not a blessing?
Facts.
Right? Like you was paying 100%, now you're paying 50%. Is that a blessing or is that not a blessing? If you can't see that as being a blessing, then I think you're going to have a hard time dating men right now, because with all the freedoms that was given through the Civil Rights Act and Title IX, you're on a level playing field now. So now you're going to have to participate in the game of life.
Why people don't like to look at, the person who I want to be with, what do they want? Because that seems to be hard for a lot of people, right? Like I look at when I was younger, I used to think about like, damn, all right, this is the type of chick I want.
Yeah.
Especially when you start looking at like looks,
Yep.
stuff like that. I'm going to just go for looks right now, right? I'm thinking like, oh, I want this chick. I want that chick. And then I started thinking about it, Mike. I said, okay, well, she wants Drake. She wants LeBron. she wants those type of dudes, right? And I used to laugh because for those who do not know, before I was married, I really liked tall girls. Then I realized they wasn't going for 5'10", 5'11" dudes. They wanted athletes because they were so much taller. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you start looking at like, all right. So I remember one time I had this conversation with one of my homegirls, and she was telling me what type of dude she liked or whatever. And I said, well, what type of girl he want?
Yeah.
If you don't fit that mold, it's going to be hard for you. And, it seems like, and I'm not going to put it all on women, it seems like it's hard for them to accept that. Like, what you mean you don't want me?
Well, I think as men, right, men typically are tied to looks, right? Like that's normally what brings a guy in for the first time, is like how she looks, all right? And then once we outgrow that, then we start looking for like, okay, well, what kind of mother she's going to be, what type of wife is she's going to be, and I think we got to start asking those questions earlier, because when it comes back to the ideal of dating up and dating down, let's just say, you have one woman that graduates from a top elite institution and the man graduates from an average institution. The woman is in her field. The guy is struggling to get into his field, right? Most women are going to say, you know what, I don't want to be with that guy. But that's the story of Denzel Washington and his wife, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why they're together 30 years later. If you look at, a woman that's a star in her field, right? She's an entertainer, she's a star. And then, she's dating an NFL player. And then she meets this young upstart guy. He's like, yo, eventually I'm going to be king of the South. And she'd be like, boy, please, I'm dating an NFL star and I'm already a star. You're a nobody. If she walks away from that man, well, that's the story of T.I. and Tiny, right? And they've been married for how many years now? 20, 30 years. Yeah. So it's like, if you have this ideal of, the woman is making $200,000 to $300,000 a year, and, she's having kids and she's taking care of all the kids and she's letting the man chase his passion. And then when he goes to give a speech and he checks into the hotel, his credit cards decline, right? Because she's paying everything. He's not working, worth a damn. And then he has to call his brother-in-law to cover that check, and then he becomes president of the United States. That's the story of Michelle and Barack Obama. I think men got to get back to understanding that you are allowed to have preferences.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to find a woman that is going to believe in you and stick with you. And get off these fucking dating apps, because those are not the women that's going to stick with you. Those are not the women that's going to believe in you. You're going to have to get back out here. You're going to have to put your feet to the ground. You're going to have to get back to meeting friends of friends. You're going to have to start back getting to meeting folks at organizations and work and clubs. Not nightclubs, but like club organizations. Yeah. Like, you got to get back to the point that you start doing those type of things and meet women in the real world, because when you find the right woman, yes, you could become the king of the South. You could become the hottest black actor of all time. You could become president of the United States with the right woman. But if we keep playing with just the woman that thinks that an average date should cost $200, that woman doesn't care about you, bro.
Absolutely.
She doesn't care about you, man, because if she actually just did the math herself, she'd be like, ooh, yeah.
You can't afford what I want.
I can't afford that. And at worst, maybe I should contribute to that. I don't know if we played the video last week, but the guy was saying he was speaking to a room full of women, and he was like, if you go on a date and the guy doesn't offer to pay, that's a red flag. And I agree. But he said, but if you go on a date and the guy offers to pay and the woman doesn't say, oh, I got it, he said that's also a red flag because she is selfish. She feels entitled to what you do. And I think that if we understand that as men, I think that we'll probably do better in our selection of women that we have children with.
I have to let that breathe because that's definitely getting chopped. You know what? And Mike is telling y'all to get off the dating apps. I will tell y'all that's good to do, or y'all need to have a purpose for being on there. And the only reason why I say that, because as y'all know, I'm a photographer, and most of the weddings I do, a lot of the dudes are on there. I'm gonna tell y'all something that everybody has told me because it blows my mind. It's probably 80% of the weddings I do now, especially if they're young, it's we met on an app. Yeah. And let me tell you the difference that I've noticed about these marriages. All the dudes, I said, how did that go? He said, bro, when she wrote me, I told her exactly what I was looking for. And he said, and I was cool with girls saying, oh, nah, I'm just here for X, Y, and Z. He said, I unmatched, I kept it moving.
Yeah.
And all the girls, let me tell y'all, that blew my mind because I was like, yo, there are that small percentage of men who really get on these apps, and there's even a smaller amount of men who are successful once they get on these apps at saying, hey, we match, but look, I'm dating with intention.
Yeah.
I have preferences, respect my preferences. This is what I want. But unfortunately, a couple of y'all getting on there and you just have no purpose, no idea, or you just there to smash. Whatever.
I mean, that's the thing. They're just there to smash, and they need access to beautiful women, right? Because most of these men don't have access to beautiful women. So that's why you're on the dating app, because you're like, yo, like you don't know where they at. You don't know where to go. You go to the spots and they're not there. So you go to these dating apps and then you're like, yo, I can find all the baddies. And then the one that responds to you, you could just offer up something ludicrous to get her to go out with you. And it's like, that's what and then they want to love bomb the hell out of that woman, right? Now, and then they're frustrated because they're like, okay, I matched with her. You know, she was a 9. She was attracted enough with me to go out. I went and dropped $200-$300 on a date with her. And then, you know, I told her that I loved her and I want her to have my babies and I want to marry her. Like all this other dumb shit that dudes do when they love bomb because they being simptastic. And it's like, okay, well, why didn't it work? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, that was out of your range from the start.
From the start,
you know
bro.
what I'm saying? Like you went, dude, what you did is went to the Mercedes-Benz dealership and you got in the AMG and you test drove it, but you had to bring it back.
Absolutely.
You couldn't really afford it. Dudes that can afford it. Now, look, if you can afford it, yeah, you could go into the date now, and then you could set your standard. But most of your guys can't afford it, man. And like, for what you're wanting, you're frustrating yourself more than you're having success. So just stop frustrating yourselves. Get off of these dating apps. Get off of all of them. Like, just don't. Get back into the real world. Like, go out, be funny, have conversations. You know, it's way easier to be at a bar and buy a woman across the bar a drink, right? That at most at a super nice place that's costing you $20 at most, right? So you're able to have a first night with someone and get to know them for $40, $60 instead of you trying to drop $300 trying to impress a woman.
Facts.
For what? Like, guys, it's pure economics here.
Speaking of getting out more, I was a photographer friend of mine was talking about how they took their kid to the DMV, right? And so the kid was going to get their learner's permit, and, you know, the DMV handed the kid the paperwork and was like, we need you to sign your name here, whatever. And the parent goes, my kid looked at me and said, I haven't wrote in 2 years. And she said, it hit me then that I haven't got my kid in a writing situation because of school.
Yeah.
You know, school been virtual and everything. It's like, So that goes back to, some of y'all gonna have to sharpen up your skills, and the dating apps is not where it's gonna be at.
Dating apps are not gonna sharpen your social skills, man. You got to get back into these social settings, man. Like throw on a sports coat, pair of jeans, slacks, nice belt, and hey, man, get out to a bar, man, and just hey, look, if you're confident enough, go by yourself. If you see somebody and you catch her eye, tell the bartender to just send her a drink. You know what I'm saying? And don't go over there and hover over her when you send her the drink. But you know what I'm saying? See if there's a mutual interest there. That's way easier than going on these dating apps and offering to be simp fucking tastic to the tune of $200-$300.
Facts.
You take that $200-$300 and take yourself out for the month to find out where you want to go, where folks are at. Like, you could take yourself out 4 times for that same amount of money that you're trying to impress a woman that has zero interest in you, bro.
Facts.
She don't. What she has interest is the new restaurant that's opening up.
The experience.
That's the experience, bro. And you just happen to be alone.
Absolutely.
And she posted on her Instagram, not you at all.
Not.
She got the meal. She got herself in front of the restaurant. Probably got your simp ass taking a picture in front
Absolutely.
of the restaurant. She got the bathroom photo. And
Facts.
It's over, right? Like, that's
Over.
it. And it's like, yo, you guys have to stop doing that.
Look.
Like, take yourself out.
And then when somebody in her comments like, oh, who you went with? She's saying a friend.
Yeah.
That'd be the joke. And look, never mind, I'm gonna let that rock. That'd be the joke. I was out with a friend. Anyway, man, we got anything else?
Nah, bro, that's all I got today.
What you got this weekend, man? It's 4th of July weekend. You celebrating Independence Day?
I don't celebrate holidays in general. It's not my thing.
See,
especially not
America's birthday.
Yeah, when my people was enslaved. No thanks.
Micah is scarred from celebrating holidays because his birthday is on a holiday, so he don't celebrate the other ones. And so with that, we won't be doing nothing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, but if you're grilling out though, let me know. I'll come through.
Absolutely. I don't know what Saturday I got a wedding. Sunday I got a photo shoot. Monday I might have 2 podcasts on Monday.
We'll figure it out.
Oh, it's another podcast I got to do. I'm just like, whatever, man. Anyway, with that being said, look, dads, continue to be great. Continue to fight the good fight. And with that, we're going to holler at y'all next time.
Holler at your boy.